Okay guys, for today's lesson we are still going over one-point perspective, but this time we are going to go over shapes that are not squares and boxes. We're going to learn how to do this with other types of shapes. So I have my paper, I've got my pencil eraser and ruler or straight edge, whatever you have available to you. I have my paper turned in landscape style, which is long ways. So make sure you have everything you need before we get started. At the top of your paper, we're going to go ahead and label this one also 1 point perspective. And I'm going to also put shapes. So that's just kind of so you can refer back on how to do kind of these other shapes. So I'm going to put my vanishing point in the middle. For what we're doing today, we actually don't need a horizon line, but we do need a vanishing point. So I'm going to put my vanishing point in the middle of my page. I'm going to put over here a circle. And I honestly don't care if you trace something that's circular. It's fine. And it doesn't need to be perfect. It's close. Okay, mine's not perfect. But that's one thing about drawing is you kind of give it a go and then you go back and adjust slightly where you need to. Okay, close enough. I'm going to do a triangle. Kind of pointed at my vanishing point. You can use your ruler to draw that if you want. But also notice I'm drawing these somewhat big. I'm not doing them itty bitty because we're going to have to end these, and if you draw them too small, you will have a hard time doing that. So draw them a decent size, at least as big as I'm going on my paper. Okay. Over here, I'm going to just kind of make up a geometric looking shape. It's actually going to, I think, look more kind of like a backwards L or something. Okay. And then I'm going to do a star. Now, again, don't stress too much on your star. Do make it somewhat big, but here's how I do my stars. I'm sure everybody knows how to draw them kind of like this. This is how I do mine. I will start mine like this, and then I just go back and erase the lines on the inside. Okay. Just like so. Okay. So we're going to start. I'm going to give you a minute to get to where I'm at, but we're going to start with our circle first. So when we have, like all these shapes here have corners, all those shapes we did yesterday have corners as well. So how do we take a shape that doesn't have any corners to the vanishing point? How do we know where to start our lines? So when we have a rounded object, we want to start at the widest point. So what I want you to do, and that's the widest point in reference to the vanishing point. So here's what I always do, just kind of like yesterday. I'm going to put my pencil on my vanishing point. I'm going to take my ruler, straight edge, and I'm going to push it up against my pencil that's lined on my vanishing point. And I'm going to just slowly kind of rotate my straight edge or ruler until it touches. So right there is where it touches. So that is the widest point in reference to my vanishing point. And I'll draw a line, okay? So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Slowly take it up until it touches. That's the widest point in reference to my vanishing point. I'm going to do that right there. Okay? So, again, I'll show you without drawing it. I line my ruler up to the widest to my, I put my pencil on my vanishing point, put my ruler straight edge, and I just slowly take it until it touches the shape. That determines where I need to start my line. Same thing here. Just take it, rotate it until it touches. That determines where I need to start my line. Here's a common mistake a lot of people do. So they will start with their circle, they got their vanishing point, and then they kind of just guess. They go, this is what a lot of people do. Okay? Y'all see that? They just kind of guessed. So if you were to do this from the widest point, it'd be more right about there. But make sure you don't do this. Don't make an ice cream cone. We don't want that. Okay? Make sure it goes to the widest point. Alright. So how would we end that? We don't have straight lines. We have a curved line. How do we end that? Oh, well, we don't want to end a curved object, a rounded object with a straight line. Okay? It'd be kind of like our boxes yesterday, trying to end two sides of a box with one solid line. It would make it appear like it's squished in the back. So we need to try to mimic however that side starts. So I'm extending this side back essentially. So I need to kind of copy this type of line wherever I want to end it. You want to try to, what I like to call make an echo, make a repeat, but it'll obviously just be a smaller one because it's farther away. So trying to mimic the same type of curve I have on that first one. Alright. Okay. So I no longer need my extra diagonal lines. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to erase them. Okay. Now, you can always go back and tweak a little bit more. So I don't really like how it almost gave me a corner like right here. I don't know if you guys can tell that, so I'm going to kind of round that and curve that a little bit more. Okay. So, anyways, that's how you kind of do a rounded object. Alright. So, on my triangle, we're going to, on these next ones, this is going to kind of also help you determine what corners to take to the vanishing point and what ones not to take to the vanishing point. So, I mentioned in the video yesterday that you need to, if you're ever not sure, if your line into your shape cuts directly into your object, trying to go to the vanishing point, you don't want to take that. So this one is obviously not going to cut into my shape. So I'm going to take this one. Again, I'm going to line my ruler up with my vanishing point with my pencil. Take it there. And take it there. Okay? So when I come to this corner, I'm going to do my check. Because when we start going at angles, when you have slants and stuff, it does, you know, it's not as easy as just a box. So I'm going to take that one because that line does not go straight into my vanishing point. Now, depending on how you drew your triangle, you may or may not have another side that you see going to your vanishing point. Depends on how you drew it. So, if you drew yours in a certain way, we may not see this next side. Let's see if I do. I think I will. I think I will because I actually kind of have a little bit of a bend in mine. But anyways, mine won't cut directly into my triangle. I don't think it would have whether that bend was there or not. But so I see my two sides. Again, depending on how you slanted yours, you may or may not. So if your line tries to cut directly into your shape, don't take it. You're not supposed to, okay? So now how am I going to end this? This one's a lot more trickier because my shape has a slant. It is not a 90-degree angle, okay? So here's how I suggest you do your shapes. We always want to use how did we start this side? We started this side with a line like that. We started this side with a line like that. So between these 2 points, because that's where that side is, we need to try to end it with the same kind of slant. So it's a little bit easier if you actually draw ones like with a ruler than when I did it. I just kind of freehanded mine. But I'm going to try to match that same slant. So I'm going to line my ruler up with my line there and just try to pull it back to try to get that same sort of angle that I've got going. Okay, so I no longer need this. So, and this is kind of where having like erasing as you go really can become helpful. So I no longer need this line. So I'm going to go ahead and erase it. And this is going to become handy when you come into shapes that have a lot of sides like our star. Even this one might get confusing for some. So just maybe getting in the habit of erasing as you go is a good idea. So I've got this side. Now I really truly don't need this line anymore, but some of you might still want it. You can erase it or you can keep it for the next line. However, this side is going to get a little bit more confusing. So the rules don't change though. Just because it's a smaller side and more of a slant there doesn't mean that the rules change. They don't. A lot of people think that they're going to try to give this side more room by changing the angle. A lot of them are going to come back here and want to do something like that. Okay? Don't do that. Let me zoom in a little bit. Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing that I did here. I'm going to line, see, just on this side I lined my ruler up and I slid it back and found my end there. I'm going to do the same thing, okay? When we have sides that appear smaller, it really throws people off, but don't let it. The rules are the same. So I'm going to just slide my ruler back until I find that corner where I ended my previous side. I'm going to end it there, okay? And I'm still not even sure if that matches it quite. I'm going to, there, that looks a little bit better. So I'm going to go now and erase those 2 lines I no longer need. So again, please do not let the fact that this side is skinnier throw you off. Do not let the angles, like this side goes, this should go to your vanishing point here, and then this should match the original side. So it looks kind of funny, but it's the same rules. That's correct. You have to follow the rules, okay? All right. Let me give you a second to get where I'm at, just in case you're not. Okay. So I'm going to now move on to my little backwards L shape here. All right. So this one's got more corners. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take all of my corners to my vanishing point first. However, if this confuses you, you might go ahead and just take one side, end it, erase the extra, then take the next side, end it, erase the extra. But I am going to at least determine first what corners am I going to take to my vanishing point. Okay, this corner I can take because I don't cut directly into my shape. So I'm going to go ahead and dot that one. This one I can take because I don't cut directly into my shape. This one I can take. A lot of people forget the inside corners. Don't forget the inside and outside corners, okay? This one I can take because it's not going to interfere with my shape. This one I can also take. This one I can take. And again, you might have drawn yours angled a little bit differently, so just because mine all go to the vanishing point does not mean yours will. However, not all mine will. Okay, look at this. This one cuts directly into my shape if I try to take it, so I do not want to take that one. Okay, so those are all the corners I am going to take. So double check with your shape. Make sure that, you know, if you have any that do this, don't take it. Okay, so, all right, so now I'm going to go ahead and line my ruler up with my corner and my vanishing point. Okay, I've got that side. Got that side. Now, again, if you're one that struggles with how to end each side, right now would be a good time to stop and end this one. So if you were to go ahead and end this one, you would end this side with a horizontal line. So that's exactly how I started it. Okay? So, I'm not going to end mine yet because some people may not need to do that. But if you do, you're going to end it with a horizontal line because that's how it started. Okay? And then you can erase your extra. Alright, so I'm going to move on down to my next corner. And I'm going to take that to the vanishing point. Okay? So, again, I'm not going to end mine yet, but if I were to, I would come back in between these two lines, and I would end it with a vertical line, because it started with a vertical line. Alright, my next corner. Taking it back. So hopefully you get the idea now, if you haven't already. But if you need to end it between these two lines, I have a horizontal line. I'm going to end it with a horizontal line. Just make sure when you end your step, they all meet up. So if I end one here, I end one here, I end one here, they're all going to meet in the corners back there. Okay? And don't let them all be different widths and sizes. They all need to be lining up too. Alright, so here's my next one. And take it all the way back. And then there's my shape. That looks like it goes on forever and ever. So this is a really cool technique to do if you're going to do a bird's eye view of like a building or a skyscrapers or something like that. Or just to kind of make things look like they're popping out from the distance. Which we're going to do kind of an assignment like that later. But anyways, so if I were to end this side by itself, after I've already ended the rest, because I've got this line in between these two diagonals, that's how I'm going to end it back here too, with a vertical line. Okay, so now that I am actually finished with mine, you should be probably finished with yours too. Just again, make sure that you're not trying to take anything that cuts through your shape. So, if it's looking funny, maybe that's what you're doing. Now, I'm going to go back and end it now. So, in between, I know we've already talked about it, so in between on this side, it needs to be a horizontal line. So, I'm going to come over here and end it with a horizontal line. Okay. In between here, I'm going to do a vertical line. And again, if you're ever not sure, just line your ruler up with that first, unless you have a curve, you can't really line a ruler up with a curve, but line your ruler up with that first shape and just slide it back like I did on my triangle. I had an angle here, so I just try to match that same angle. So if you're not sure, just start with that ruler lined up there and just carry it back. Okay, so here I have a line like that. I'm going to carry it back, meet up with my back corner, like so. And then same thing here. I hope I'm not moving too fast. I've got it here. If I am, you can pause the video. Carry it back. Okay, so now you can go back and erase other lines if you chose to end it all at once like I did. Just remember, if you're a heavy-handed person, I'm not a very heavy-handed person, but I'm still kind of pushing a little hard just so that the camera picks up my pencil really good. Make sure you can still see my lines. So if you're really heavy-handed, you're going to get in a lot of trouble as far as your image not looking very clean and the lines not being able to erase. So just remember, hold your pencil towards the back, and it's a lot harder to push really heavy that way. Okay. All right, our last shape that we're going to do, just as an example, these are all just examples just so that you know how to kind of approach these in later images, okay? Or not these specific shapes, but just how to problem solve and work your way through ending them. So I've got my shape here. I again probably need to determine what corners am I going to take to my vanishing point, okay? So I know I could take this one because there's nothing in my way here, okay? This one, I should still be good. And again, your star is going to probably be different than mine, so just check, check, check. This one's certainly going to be in the clear. Okay, now this one, I cannot, because if I try to take a line to the vanishing point, it's going to cut into my shape. So I don't want to do that one. So I'm going to skip that one. Now this one, okay, this brings me up to one more point. So this one does not cut directly into my shape, say like this corner does, okay? This one leaves room and then it bumps into my shape. So I'm still going to take this one. However, when I bump into something else, I'm going to stop that line, okay? So I'm going to take it until it bumps into something. So this one, I'm not going to take it because it's going to cut directly into my shape. This one, let me double check here on my ruler. I don't think I'm going to take it, but I'm going to make sure. Okay, so that one is actually going to kind of go right along the edge of my shape, so I'm not going to take that one. We wouldn't see it. This one we won't because it cut directly into my shape. And this one we would, because it won't. And then this one is probably going to fall in line with the other one. Yeah, that one will go right along my shape, so I won't take that one either. So that's how my star lines up. Those are the corners I'm going to take in my star. So just, your stars are going to look different. It's going to be angled different, so just follow those rules of thumb. If it cuts directly into the shape, don't take it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move mine. And you don't have to draw the big black dots on your shape. That was just kind of a way for you to kind of see what I'm trying to do. So, okay, so I'm at the one that is going to eventually run into it, okay? And again, if you are someone that gets confused with a bunch of lines happening, this is my most complex shape that I've done so far. So you might really want to go ahead and just end each shape. And I actually think I'm going to take that approach on this one before I get too into it. Since I did this one all at once and then ended it, I'm going to just go ahead and end this one as I go for those that need to do that. So in between these two diagonal lines that go to my vanishing point, I have an angle here. So again, I'm going to try to end it the same angle I started it with, which goes like this. I'm going to line my ruler up. I'm going to slide it back however far back I want my star to look long. Let's call it there. Okay? So I'm matching my angle there. So I can go ahead and erase this line. And I truly don't need this one anymore. Not that keeps going to the vanishing point. I can go ahead and erase it to that. But if you feel like you need to keep that there, you can while you end this side. It's totally up to you. Whatever works for you. So here I've got a slant here. I'm going to line my ruler up. Slide it back, find where my other side ends, and then draw my line, okay? I'm going to end that. So honestly, this probably is the best approach for a complex shape like this because it really can get confusing on knowing what to do and how to end all of your shapes or all of your lines when there's a bunch of lines happening. So this line here, I'm here. This is the side that will eventually bump into my star, or the other part of my star. but it doesn't start that way. So again, I'm still going to take it to the vanishing point, but then I just stop my line when it runs into it. Now, had I maybe ended my star really skinny like this, then I would also come back over here and end this really skinny too. I want my width to look the same throughout. But since I made mine kind of thicker, and then the illusion would be that this is going to, you know, end back here somewhere, and I won't see it because the front side's covering it up. Okay? So, anyways, I am done with that. I don't have to end that side. Okay? I'm not taking this one because it cuts directly in. I'm not taking this one because it actually rides along my shape. Again, you might need to, so make sure you're checking your stuff. I won't take that one because it cuts directly in. This one I will, because nothing is in the way. And take it like so. This side. Okay, so here's an interesting predicament I'm in, because I won't take this side because it kind of runs along my shape. So how am I going to end this one? This one's going to be kind of tricky. I'm going to have to do a little bit of guesswork on it to make the appearance look the same. So I've got this about, you know, yay thick. Okay, no, I got a better idea. I can take the guesswork out. If you're in my same situation here, you're not quite sure where you need to end it to make the appearance look the same. All right, so hang in there with me. This might get confusing. So this line is pretty much the same line here, right? When we did my star, it goes like that. So this line is the same thing. So I've ended this side already. I know exactly how thick I need that to look. So because this kind of is the same side in a sense, I can use this line here to help me end it over here and get the guesswork correct. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. Now this may not always work out for every time. This is kind of one of those things, if you come across a situation like this, you might need to try to just problem solve it and figure it out. So I know my thickness here. Again, like this is the same angle I've got here. It's the same line. So I'm just going to come over here. I'm going to match my line in the back. Okay, I'm using that back line there where I ended it. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to end it like that over here. Okay. So now this kind of gives it a sort of a distorted view because we don't see this corner. If I would have seen here, you'd probably make a little bit more sense. Hopefully this still makes sense to you, but according to 1 point perspective rules, this is exactly how I would see from this angle. Okay. Now yours might be a little bit different. We might have another, line here that we would see depending on where your vanishing point is in reference to your shape. So, I hope that this all answers your questions. I feel like I've kind of sort of created several situations as far as what things you might run into when you're doing 1 point perspective, and hopefully been able to help you figure out how to cross those bridges if you come to them. So this is what you need to do for your participation points today. You need to upload a picture of this and post it to today's date. Okay, so if you don't post it within the certain time of today, I think you have until midnight to post a picture. If you don't get your participation points. So if you post late, I can still check your work, but I will not be going back to give you participation points for it later. So make sure you upload a picture of this, and if you have any questions, let me know when you post a picture. Let me ask me your questions in a private comment, and I can help you figure out what's going wrong. So, anyways, again, make sure you post your picture today, and that is the end of the lesson. If you need to rewatch it, you can just start the video back over.